song again? I can't remember the words, I'm gonna think real hard, and maybe I'll find it. And what's my song again? I can't remember the words, I'm gonna think real hard. Think real hard, maybe I'll find it.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sims TV. I'm Steven Sims. If you've never tuned into this show before, you are in store to have some fun. Let's kick it off with a little karaoke. Here we go. Facebook might throw us off because we're breaking the rules, but we don't care. This song is called Mudcrutch. It's by the late Tom Petty and his first band, Mudcrutch. Here we go. Graduated high school. I bought her a trailer in a little park by the side of the road. I could have had the Army. I could have had the Navy. But no, I had to go a mobile home. Yes, I gave it all to you, babe. Oh, I you something, missed the word. You, babe. Here we go, verse 2. I kept up my interest. I kept up my payments. She never said goodbye. I never asked why. When we used to dance to Leonard Skinner, oh, she used to look so good at times. Yes, I gave it all to you, babe. Wasn't room in that trailer for two, babe. All right, so this is Sims TV. I'm Steven Sims. If you're tuning in for the first time, Wendy, welcome to the show. Wendy, so excited to have you. Thanks for tuning in. And of course, we have our friend of the show, Anyang Christensen, and another friend of the show, Johnny Mark. So early, I didn't think you woke up till noon. No, I wake up early, man. I wake up really early. We have a really fun show for you today. My good friend, Sarah Yourgrau, from so many projects, including Returning the Favor, which we work on together, is here. She's going to be stopping by. We're going to be having so much fun. We got a couple questions from the fans. Let's go to them real quick. Allison Pittle from Michigan. When will you have closed captioning, Steve? I believe that's an option that Facebook can set up. I believe you can view that, actually. So there you go. Smart-ass comment. Anyway, here we go. Moving on. You trailer for two, babe. All right. We're having so much fun. We're singing a little Tom Petty. So glad that Sarah's going to be stopping by. Sarah's a good friend of mine, a good friend of this show because she is a huge supporter of what I do and a huge supporter of everything positive in this world. So we're excited to have her. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring out my good friend, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sarah Yourgrau. Hey.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. There's like 3 songs that I'm comfortable singing. That one, Brick by Ben Folds 5, and yeah, I think that's about abortion. And what's the other one? Oh, Uncle Tupelo, Hey Madrid, or New Madrid.
Classics.
Yeah, all classics.
Well, what a songbird you are.
I'm a throat guy.
I gotta get my water bottle, actually.
Yeah, get your water bottle. We'll go to the comments real quick. Look, we got Allison Pittle Miller tuning in. Hey, Sarah running. She's doing exercise on this. We have Wendy, of course. We have Chris Spry. And we got our good friend, Mickey, loving the graphic. Uncle Tupelo, what up? All right, if you're tuning into the show, if you have questions for myself or Sarah, send them through. We will get to them. But we're here just to kind of shoot the shit. That looks like a flask.
Isn't this cool? This company sent this to me, and it fits right in your water bottle. Your backpack flat.
Oh, that's nice. I got this big clunky thing. The only nice thing about this is it has this little like carry it lock so it never spills. It's pretty
Why
great.
do you need that if you don't leave your house?
What was that?
Why do you need that if you don't leave your house anymore?
I don't know. I mean, I'm actually in a place where there's no plumbing or electricity, so I have to walk to the house, and I'm not as agile as you, where I just sprint over to the kitchen.
Well, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm a huge fan of Sims TV.
Well, now that I'm hydrated and I can speak, we have a lot of people tuning in, so let's keep them entertained. How are you? How are you living you're in New York City. I'm in Los Angeles. How are you living these quarantine days? We're day, 45 or something?
Something like that. I am I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I'm getting a little bit stir crazy in my 1,200 square foot apartment.
Oh, I bet.
And
I'm pretty big for Brooklyn, though.
No, it is big for Brooklyn. I'm so grateful. All the pretense, all of it. I'm so happy to, and I love it's cozy. But I have not been home for this length of time in my entire life.
Well, that's the one thing I want to talk about, because you and I both, whether it's from Returning the Favor or other projects, we travel a lot. And then when we aren't traveling, we're always on the go. Like my wife, Samara, works at home, and she likes working from home. She does all her exercise from home. She does all her business from home.
Yep.
Me, I got to do everything outside of the house other than sleep and maybe eat a meal or two. Like, I mean, I am so addicted to being like a socialite. Is that, I guess, the right word? Socialite. I'm trying new vocabulary. I'm just addicted to being out with people, and I thrive on people. I think you're the same way.
I am. I think you're more of an extrovert than I am. I think I'm like an introverted extrovert, because I definitely recharge my battery alone. Like, I just like having that kind of like ritual to my day and rhythm to my day. But that's really because we live such wild lives too, that I have to have some kind of like anchor. But I don't know, dude. I am like, we're thinking about going and just renting a cabin in the woods for a month, because I'm getting a little bit like for nature.
Yeah, well, that's, New York is, a lot of people that don't live in New York or don't live in LA think they're similar, but they're not. LA is much more spread out than New York. Like, I'm in South LA, I'm in like a neighborhood, I can walk around, where Brooklyn, you're right there.
Yeah.
And New York's, I mean, you guys are having a tough time right now. And
oh my God, yeah.
All of our love to New York.
Thank you. Thank you. We know how much you love this city.
That was one of the notes I made, that we should talk about how I love New York. And it's a love-hate. I mean, it started as a pure hate, but I then grew to absolutely love it. And, I was looking forward to it. I was going to be coming back in May for some more work together. And unfortunately, due to COVID-19 and all this, we have to stay put. But New York, I was there last June. It's such a great time to be there. Like, it doesn't get too hot. It's not cold anymore. Like, I can see why you want to get out while you have cabin fever.
I mean, listen, I live right next to, or right around the corner from Botanical Gardens and Prospect Park, which is beautiful. Same designer as Central Park. But there are just only so many 5-mile routes I can take each time, And so, but I'm really lucky to have that there. Like Brooklyn, you can see the sky more than Manhattan, where you're a little bit just shadowed by the buildings. I'd be going nuts in Manhattan. But it's also just sort of like, if we're trapped here, I'd rather refuel in nature anyway.
Yeah.
And not be surrounded by, I mean, there are sirens every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a few during this.
That's all right. I got planes landing. I had to shut all the windows. So when I start to sweat profusely, then you know it. And comments real quick. April 25th, all you need is a light jacket. That's true.
That's true, Mick. That is true. Listen, New York is, I think part of your resistance to New York initially was the fact that you were coping with a little bit of envy.
Well, it was weird when I first came to New York, I was like, after 10 years of living in Los Angeles. And yeah, it was because I was like, why didn't I do this first? Like I'm from
Mhm.
Pennsylvania originally, so I went the furthest point away versus the closer point. And I think I was a little, and I also just I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
getting on the train and heading to Hoboken, like with the time we were at Sweet Greens, and I just can't deal with the personalities of people being like, I'm just like, la la la, and everyone's just like, what do you want, sir? And I'm like, I'm having a great day, but it's just a different vibe in New York City. But I do love going there. I love working with you. I love working with and seeing all of our friends too, and going to the Folly.
Yeah.
Mickey's killing it with the comments, by the way. She does remind me of my New York plumbing problem. I have quite a bit of them.
How do I just was able to see the, oh my God, I wasn't able to see any of the comments before.
You can see the comments now? I'm sorry.
Now I can.
I'm giving you a tutorial.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk. I would love to. Do you have any memories of how you and I first met? Because
Absolutely.
You're my like desk buddy.
Yeah, you're my desk buddy. And I remember 100% the first moment I met you. I think it was when did we start on Returning the Favor? Was that 2018 or 17?
2017.
2017. Okay. So it was fall of 2017. And I came from Los Angeles, and I think I started a couple days before you. And I heard that there was another producer coming on, and it was a female, and her name was Sarah, and that's all I knew. And then the second you walked in the door to the office, I was like walking out, and we stopped, and it was like, hello! And like, it was like we both, it sounds so strange. People probably think we're nuts, but it sounded just like, it felt like this, oh my God, here's like my spirit animal, or someone that's just like I've been connected to, but I've never met before.
Totally. I actually completely remember that. That's back when the office had that cubicle. Was that back when Natasha's desk was?
Yeah, it's when she was at the front. Yeah.
It's so funny because for anyone who thinks about what Returning the Favor it looks like, the glamorous offices of Hollywood, it's really just us on top of each other in a cubicle. Yeah. But we have fun. That is the most fun office I've ever worked at in terms of just belly laughs every day.
I love it because it's a small group, and it's just like everyone's always looking to say the next funniest thing. And it's like, I think also what comes with that is that, we've worked on TV for a while now, and we've worked on a lot of different stuff, some good, some bad, some pure crap. But I'm only speaking for myself. But I think when you work on a show like Returning the Favor, and we know like the fun we get to have on the show, we get to be on the show, and the positivity that we get to bring to the world, it just makes it. It makes it. I mean, of course, we have our stressful days.
Of course, but that's production. I mean, but we really. I mean, that show is a lottery win in the industry.
And that's the one thing. And again, I'm sure coming up, when you were coming up like me, like we worked on some stuff. You're like, I can never do this again. But now, as like a senior producer and, been doing this for almost 15 years, I'm so thankful for all the projects I work on. Someone was asking on the comments why I wasn't doing the COVID episodes, and there's no other reason other than I'm in Los Angeles booked on another project, and that's that. It's not that I don't want to, or not that no one wants me to, and you're doing a fantastic job with that. Why don't can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So when we were realizing it was quarantine, we were actually heading out like a few days later to do a whole other episode. I came back from a scout in an unnamed place in Ohio, because we might go back to it. So I came back from a scout, and it was one of those really intense scouts where everyone's sort of like, who are you really? And you're having to you're soaked in sweat the whole time because you're having to like give up this lie about this false production company that has no internet footprint. We're just sent out with like zero of the proper resources to swing it off. So it takes a lot of acting, right?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where I was like sat in a conference room where like 3 men were just like, we don't buy it, who you are. So that was the kind of energy I had to come back.
Yeah, been there.
So I came back. I immediately got sick. I diagnosed myself with COVID, which I didn't have. And then a day later, the office just sort of shut down. One of our heads of our company, it was so hard to know what was alarmist and what wasn't, right? This was early March. And so it was hard to know it was alarmist. We were still flying all the time, but we were supposed to be heading out to an episode in Colorado to film a reveal in Colorado. And that was happening on Monday. So everyone was freaking out about, should we still be flying? Should we not still be flying? What's the safe thing to do? And then if you remember those few days in March, at least in New York, it was like one day was worth 6 months time in terms of what we would learn overnight, right? So like the information you had today became just drastically different from the information you had yesterday.
Yeah.
So we were really scrambling and trying to figure out how do we maintain this show. And the ethos of RTF is returning the favor, is celebrating these people who are going above and beyond in their communities. And so that is exactly what we were starting to see just pour out from everyone, right? That everyone's stepping up and still stepping up and will continue to step up to just be just an everyday hero in their community in some way. Because I mean, people are good. People have an impulse for good. They want to do the right thing in this. We want purpose in that way. So you're seeing people just coming out in droves doing that. So we thought, if we can't capture this now, then what's the point of returning the favor, right? Yeah. The point of we couldn't possibly waddle back with our, tail between our legs after that. This is our moment. So we restructured the program. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen on RTF, right? And with anything, when you have some networks and you have talent, you have whatever, there's just a lot of cooks in that kitchen. Makes for a complicated recipe sometimes. So
a delicious meal.
A delicious meal, a nutrient-rich dish.
Yes.
But so we ended up having that first week so crazy. That first week when we were in quarantine, we probably restructured and reformatted the show 15 times. I mean, everyone worked like 100 hours that week. It was exhausting. We ended up going with the most easy-going version of the show, which I feel like Mike Rowe, the host of our show, is happiest with. But it's like we finally are just. I mean, it's just everything now has become remote. It's totally bizarre and it's also amazing.
It's insane. And I do want to say, and I texted you when the show, you and Jacob, when the COVID edition started, I thought it was incredible because I was working on a live event. I was writing for a live event at the time, and obviously that got canceled. And luckily I was able to pivot to some digital projects, and I was experimenting with the same thing you guys were experimenting, and we were kind of like trading information. And like, this was a month ago, and I'm like, well, this won't last very long. We're going to be on Zoom or Google Hangouts or StreamYard, for like a week or two, and then we'll be back to normal. And then now I'm in production on a show that for the next 2 months that is completely filmed like this. It's crazy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I came to grips with this really early on. I let myself like grieve, and I say grieve because it was just such a halt for your life. It was sudden halt for how fast our life was, and that was really jarring, right? Because you stopped, but your wheels were still like spinning, and so you're trying to get acclimated and figure it out. But I really kind of braced for being like, this could be the next year, and swallowing that pill helped me now feel so much more settled because I'm spending less energy on resisting it and more energy on trying to innovate and make it, there's some serious beauty. I love that we're like pulling back the veil in how, you don't have the distraction and the illusion of the smoke and mirror anymore, right? You're seeing people more raw.
I love it too. And I love that, because again, when this was all going on from like a Sims TV point of view, my wife Samara was like, I can't believe you're not out doing Sims TV. And I'm like, this isn't going to be that long. I don't really want to bring it back if I'm just going to stop doing it. And then I was like, it hit me what you just said. I wanted to be innovative. I was like, I have the ability and the skill set to make entertainment just from my house. And if I can do it, why won't I do it? And I'm not looking for anything from this other than just to keep people entertained and to just, help people like you promote stuff, help us talk about fun things we work on, because we get to work on fun stuff in a fun industry. But yeah, it's crazy. I love what you guys are doing. I have a trailer for Returning the Favor, but I just realized I should have got the trailer that just came out. I forgot there was a new one.
Whatever.
We'll show it in a minute. We'll
give the people what they want.
Let's see what the comments are. Let's take a scroll real quick. Got some good ones. We got some hearts from our friend Allison Miller out there in Michigan.
Dr. Patel.
Sending some love. And of course we got Mike Sims chiming in. He said, good meal.
Yes.
Rich dish. And Allison is excited, and Anya, shout out to Samara, saying she's a brilliant woman. She is. And of course, Allison again, Sims, love what you're doing. Well,
I also just want to give a quick shout out to everyone else who needs, who's such a critical part of our production life and such a critical part of TV that we're, even with these Zoom things and with this stuff, it's still like, I hope there are ways that we can innovate and expand so that we can get everyone back on board, because really to make a production like that takes so many people.
Oh yeah, that's also the why there's it's been such a like you're like, oh, we're at home, it should be a cakewalk. No, it's not, because there's a lot of people that are not working right now that we work with. A lot of great skilled people that their jobs, they just can't happen the way we're doing this right now, and we need those people more than ever, because personally I will fall down dead without the support of production management and other producers and stuff. It's really hard.
I know.
So, and it's also one of those things, I also think if we keep doing this stuff and pushing this forward, like I said, I was doing digital stuff a month ago, and now one of those projects is expanding into a bigger project, and we're able to bring on more producers. So this might be the new normal. It's like the industrial revolution of entertainment.
It is. And it's also this very sort of exhilarating moment in time where we can say, our old rules didn't apply anymore. Our old roles don't really apply anymore. What are you good at? What do you like to do? And then to be able to double down on that, it's like wartime, Yeah,
it really is. It is. You should be the president.
Only if you're my VP.
Of course. I can stand there. I look good standing places. So for anyone who hasn't seen the show, returning the favor, got this free hat. Thought I'd wear it. Fits. My hair is so long, and when my hair gets so long, my hats just don't fit. So this one, it's not even clipped in the back. It's just sitting on here loosely.
Looks good, baby.
But Sarah and I are both producers on Returning the Favor. Sarah is fantastic on the show and does a great job. And if you haven't seen the show, you can actually watch it right here on, well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can't watch it there. But if you're watching on Facebook, you can watch it on Facebook. And we should throw a little plug in there. You can check that out at facebook.com/returning the favor. And I think for anyone who hasn't seen the show, or even if they are a fan of the show, we should show a real quick clip.
Yes.
And then we'll come back and we'll chit-chat some more.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me see if I can do this without crashing everything. All right, here we go. We'll be right back.
Two years ago, a TV host and his crew began traveling the country.
Okay, here we go. Come on, come here.
You ready for this? God.
Giving back to America's do-gooders.
Oh my God.
Do we know what the ETA of the statue delivery is?
We know what the ETA of the statue is.
Today, they continue their mission of celebrating our favorite Heartland heroes.
Hello.
Well, Mr. Rowe, I've been expecting you.
Say please. Thank you. You're welcome. Who could stop you?
Only me, sir.
It's your turn. It's your turn.
If you change lives,
One of the hardships of cancer treatments is the social isolation.
if you help others,
I knew that there were some good people locked up.
then one man
You're using your power and your spotlight to put a spotlight on these people.
wants to return the favor.
Sims is very excited because he has a chance to pedal around. Not stable. Not stable.
He's connecting people.
Group 3, go, go, go.
I'm very fortunate just to know good people that want to make a difference.
You never know where they're going to come from. Look at all the people. 9 million people are going to see this, and they're going to know what you're doing.
You are amazing.
Returning the favor, January 13th, only on Facebook Watch.
That's a season 4 extravaganza is what that is.
Isn't that great? I love that. I'm so and again, I apologize. I should have pulled the most recent trailer for the COVID edition,
You're fine.
but I had to get myself in there, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I watched that, and it's just out of everything I've worked on, I just love this show so much, and I'm always so honored when I get to come and do an episode or two.
It's such a good reminder to, listen, it's okay to have, production's always going to be a grind. Life is always going to have a shade of gray at moments too, right? And it wouldn't be real if it was always a musical theater production. But it is truly medicinal, this show. This show has given me, listen, I'm an optimist, I'm an idealist, but I'm not delusional. And I am so moved and inspired. I think that's partially why I'm experiencing COVID with so much more contentment and trust that it's all going to be great in certain ways, because we've spent so much time intimately with every type of American experience in any little pocket of this country. And there are so many good people out there, good people, more than just people with good ideas, but action-oriented executors, people who are out there, doing it.
Well, when I first started on the show, and we both started in season 2, I remember my first episode was in Oak Harbor, Washington with Christina Miller. And it was the Garage of Blessings, which I don't think she runs anymore. But we went up there in 2017. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, this person spends their entire life caring about others. And then I thought about the show, and I thought about what we shot, and then when I was flying back to New York, and I just started to tear up on the plane, tears of joy, and just being like, this is just such a fantastic thing that I'm a part of, and I am so thankful to be a part of it, and I'm so thankful not only to be a part of it, but to meet these people, and the people we've met along the way, not just the do-gooders, but the insiders and the community, and just, it doesn't matter where you come from, what color you are, what politics you believe in, if you're rich, poor, whatever. This show just brings people together, and we learn that a lot, and you learn a lot. So it's really wonderful.
Oh, completely. And even our teams are just absolute magic, right? We have the most positive, beautiful people who really do embody the ethos of returning the favor, that have always felt like family. I mean, we've never had 1 ounce of competition or judgment or on the other, there's been just such a level of complete support and trust, and I think that's because we all so believe in the mission of everything we're doing, and we're so lucky that everyone's looking for purpose in life, right? That's the actual recipe to happiness. The things and money and all that stuff, that feels good for a second, and then you're down. But obviously, you need your baseline to be safe. But if you have purpose and you're doing something bigger than yourself, it fulfills you on a level that is just in no competition to anything else. And because we get to tap into that is probably why we keep doing it. Because, the show is a grind. We travel. I got to a point where I'm at JFK and I know the name of the person at that little coffee bean spot. That's sad, but we get to keep it moving and be out there. So.
Well, I wanted to bring up, not that we have our favorite episodes, but we have experiences from fun episodes. And Wendy Bryan brings up a great point. And this was something that Allison was also a part of as well, too. Wendy says, the ones that you did, Steve, with the ladies that the kids from the farm, animals, and therapy, you gave them a tractor. Those ladies didn't trust you at all. Yes, that was who was that? That was Carol and I can't remember.
Oh, that is a huge one. You should tell the background story to that.
The background story. Allison, what were their names again? Deb and Kathy. Deb and Kathy. I'm so sorry for forgetting.
I thought you loved them like mothers, your direct quote.
Yeah, this was so fun because I did several episodes of the show living in New York, and then I went back to LA, and for whatever reason, I was in between projects and they needed another producer. So I came out, and Allison and I were gearing up to go. I think Allison already went on a pre-scout, and the ladies Deb and Kathy were just not having it. So, and again, like Sarah said earlier, we have to go into these situations with these do-gooders and tell them that we're making a documentary or some type of journalism piece, and that we want to capture what they're doing for their community and their organization and all this stuff. They don't know anything about returning the favor. Mike Rowe. I mean, this was even season 2, so a lot of people didn't know about it. But I remember Jacob's like, you got to get on a plane and go there. And I'm like, why? He's like, they're not going to get on board. I was like, they're going to get on board. Call them up. She hung up the phone on me. She's like, I'm not signing this release. I don't know who you are. You're not explaining yourself. Hang up. I get on a plane, fly to Springfield, Ohio, go to her house with like donuts and flowers and like one of her former students. And we spent the whole morning together. And now Deb and Kathy, and she writes me every New Year's telling me how the farm is thriving. I stay in touch with both of them. I had so much fun. That was such a hard shoot because it was April and it was in Ohio and it was like snowing. It was just really weird.
Yeah, you're the king of Ohio.
Yeah, and I remember you were in Miami during that time. You were in Miami waiting to receive Mike, who I just had to go through a snowstorm in Ohio.
Oh yeah, you were right before me, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but that was one of those episodes. And thanks, Wendy, for bringing that up. And Mickey worked on that. Allison worked on that. We had a really great team on that one. Yeah. And I remember just thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And then my instinct was to film myself. And this is before we had the mic cam, and I just started filming stuff, and then with Skype with Mike. And I think the first part of the episode is me just like kind of like nervous. And I was there for 9 days. We're usually there for like 4.
No, we've had so many iterations of this show, though. So many iterations. Remember, we used to go down and film lives with people after. Did you do that ever?
Like, wait, no, I mean, I did one of the minis early on.
Yeah. Those minis,
which were hard too, because you didn't have a host. I mean, the show has been so pushing the medium forward the whole time. It's not even funny.
I know. It's been amazing. It's amazing. It is the most watched show that no one knows about.
It is. And, we're not saying, we're not pointing the finger anywhere, but, I think it's just a Facebook watch thing. A lot of people aren't aware that they have their own show. I mean, you can watch, for anyone who you can watch it outside of Facebook on your computer or your phone. You can watch this big head and that beautiful face on your TV if you got a smart TV. I mean, there's so many options. And yeah, I think it's a great show, and I look forward to coming back and doing more episodes. And I think you guys got to keep up the great work. But sure. I wanna know, what else are you doing? Like, we both have our personal projects. Are you allowed to let us know what you're up to?
I'm gonna actually launch it next week, but I'm creating a space that's like sort of a toolkit for people to come to pull, tips and tricks and techniques for more optimistic living. Just ways that we can reframe the realities that we're living in. I think that is going to be the secret to so much happiness for people, particularly during such a time of uncertainty. So I'm gonna be, sharing videos and interviews and I don't know, quotes, just whatever. It's just like a little quick hit to make you feel happier, help you reframe your day. And because, it's worked so well for me, and I've really cultivated that practice for years, that I want to share with other people, because it just makes for such a more enjoyable living experience.
Yeah. And where can we watch that on your Instagram or your Facebook?
That'll be on my Instagram, be on a handle called Now Tell Me Something Good.
Oh, wait, so on this handle.
I will reference on my Sarah Yourgrau channel. So yeah, follow that. And then follow me at Sarah Yourgrau. Just a casual American last name. And
American.
and yeah, I'm excited. And then continuing to do RTF.
And before we move along too fast, and I want to hear more about that, but these comments are coming in like crazy.
Hit us in the comments.
Yeah, but Wendy wants us to explain again how you can watch RTF on a TV, and I can absolutely do that.
Please.
If you have like a Fire TV, like for example, I have an Amazon Fire TV, or any type of television that you can download apps on, you can download the Facebook Watch app, or if you have a Google Chromecast, you can Chromecast it from your phone or your MacBook. And if you have more questions on that, you can hit me up at Steven Sims on Facebook, and I'm happy to answer those questions for you. I am the tech guy and the sign guy.
Tell people about some of the only moments of challenges that the biggest challenges for you in our reveals were what? Were they signs for you?
So everyone knows that I come from a family of sign makers.
Proud family of sign makers.
Proud family of sign makers. I'm sure my dad's tuning in right now. But he even said it last week when he was on the show. You go with that coroplast over that foam core. Anyway, so yeah, I love signs, and I used to work as my first job in LA was at a sign shop, like for the first like 9 months of living here back in 2007. And I like to graphic design. I like to do that on the side. So when we do RTF and everyone's like, oh, we can just print that check on a piece of paper, I'm like, no. We need a nice check, and we need to go to fast signs. So
that's right. Fast signs is essential work.
Fast signs is essential work. It really is. You need to keep the signs going. But back to your other project, I had a couple questions, and I want to also share with you because you have a really great Facebook page. And is that correct? Did I get that right?
I think it's just, I mean, let's see. I think I've never seen it spelled out like that.
When I copied it, it said S Yourgrau, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't connecting people with another Sarah Yourgrau.
There are people who try and take that over.
You have to be the only Sarah Yourgrau, right?
Yes, I am in the world.
Oh, that's fantastic. I am not the only Steven Sims. You can check Sarah Sims. You can check Sarah Yourgrau, my work wife, out at facebook.com/syourgrau. And of course, you can follow her on Instagram and any of those places where the @ sign is needed at Sarah Yourgrau. And I assume on there is where you're going to be putting all the information for your new channel and all the new stuff. I'm really looking forward to do that. You always bust my chops because I don't comment enough on Instagram, and I'm more of a Facebooker than the show on Facebook. But
you're a boomer.
I'm a boomer. Yeah, I'm an early millennial. But actually, you would text me like, hey, you got to comment on my face or my Instagram, and then I just like start putting smiley faces on all your posts.
You're my favorite pervert.
Yeah, I'm perfect, aren't I? Should we look at the comments real quick?
Yes, I think Lee.
Lee, what's Lee say?
Something.
Can we talk about the epic episode Sims and I shot in Atlanta and after the No, Lee, we can't talk about that. That's a family show. And yeah, I'm on the cusp of Gen X. I'm a couple years older than Sarah, so I actually am. I'm early '80s, so I'm what you call Xennial. And Mickey gives a shout out to Fast Signs, of course. Thank you, Mickey. And Wendy asks, Steve, are you an artist too, Steve? Yes, I am. I'm a drummer. I've been playing drums for 30 years. I play in a band, and I also do a lot of sketch comedy. So that's what I do on the side. Or whatever. I don't even know if it's on the side anymore. It's just like, look at what you do, like in entertainment, you work multiple projects, you work multiple jobs,
Totally.
And, like I said, the checks aren't rolling in for Sims TV, but they roll in elsewhere.
What does Samara think of this?
She watches it
Your
a lot.
lovely wife.
She's a huge supporter in everything I do. I'm very lucky. I have very supportive parents, and I have a very supportive spouse. And if I didn't have that, I would have a very sad life, and two, would never go. I mean, I go above and beyond. Samara gives me an inch, I take 20 miles, and she's just like, whatever. And sure, she gets a little exhausted, I think, with the fact that I work and then I do Sims TV and then I just want to go to bed. But she's a huge supporter. I tried getting her on the show. I think she was on years ago when we used to do it on Periscope.
Periscope, woo, hitting a miss.
Sims TV started on Periscope. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God. I miss you being in New York because New York Sims is different than LA Sims.
Yeah, LA Sims is, well, I mean, LA Sims is more tame, that's for sure. New York Sims is more of a bachelor, and I'm not hiding anything. Samara knows. I love the Folly. That's my place. Shout out to the Folly if you're watching. Chuck, John, anyone.
Does Chuck watch?
Chuck has tuned in on the show. We've played a couple games with the show.
People might remember me from the suggestions for vegan restaurants that were always overruled during the restaurant bingo challenge.
Oh yeah, Chuck. I'm trying to think when Chuck tuned in. Sorry, my dad just texted me and said we're off the air, but we're 100% not off the air. So I'm thinking something on his technology. Are we off the air, Allison? Let us know if we're off the air. I mean, the comments are still coming in, so I think we're still on the air. But if we're not, we'll just chat with each other. Oh, here we go. Annabelle. Yes, Samara was on Sims TV in Mexico. She was. That was in
Wow.
2015. She came on. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So we're still on the air. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sorry to cut you off, Sarah. I just
you're fine.
wanted to make sure we weren't having any technical difficulties.
Of course, please. You're a professional.
I try.
I remember the very, very, very first episode where all of us went in completely blind to the process, right? And that's part of like by design. Mike likes to just not prep anyone before and experience things real. But I remember being on the phone with you in our hotel rooms. My first episode ever was Sleep in Heavenly Peace in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh yeah, I was actually talking to you from Oak Harbor, Washington, where I did the Garage of Blessings.
Yeah. And we always do a wish each other luck call before, the night before, the day of. It's such a supportive team. We're always, no one wants anyone to fail. Everyone's wins are each other's wins. But I remember just being completely blindsided. I picked up Micro from the plane that came in from Oak Harbor because there was no other direct flight.
Yeah.
Picked him up. Had never talked to him ever.
Well, no. That's not entirely true. You talked to him while filming my episode. Because I never met him. I talked to him on a Skype the night before my first episode, and it went terrible. I was so nervous. And then the next day I met him in person on camera. And then in the vehicle, you called Jacob, and he just passed the phone. That's when Jacob used to drive the van.
I called Jacob for a very serious question that I needed him to answer, and I really needed our supervisor, not our showrunner, to pick up the phone and do it. And instead it was Micro. And I was just thrown, and we had this sort of benign conversation and then hung up. And then
the next day.
Yeah, and then met him the next day, right in the van.
And it all worked out because that's like the best. That's like one of the best episodes. That is a fantastic episode that's had so much action come from it. It's not even funny, and it's one of the best. I mean, that's
therapy. That's when we used to have more time.
That's why you won the Christopher Award. You got it right there. Mine's inside. Mine's in my vault. I recently spoke on a Zoom call to a Rotary Club about producing, and they were all their questions were about returning the favor. And I threw in the Christopher Award. I was like, yeah, I'm a 2018 Christopher Award winner. Oh, good.
Really impressed. I'm the only Jewish person in history to have this award.
That's actually pretty great.
And the back says, better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. That's what I always say, Christopher.
I didn't even know there was a back on. I have to look at mine. Mine just I just took mine and put it on the shelf and walked away. A Christopher Award, I don't. It's a major award. I know that. It's a television award for it's an entertainment award for people that are giving back. Essentially, what we're doing on the show.
Fortunately for us, our head of casting has won multiple Emmys, so that really keeps us going. Lee.
Our Emmys are. You won an Emmy, didn't you win an Emmy?
I won an Emmy, but mine's in. Actually, let me see if I can find. It's like a pamphlet. Oh, here, actually.
You won an Emmy pamphlet.
I won an Emmy, but it never.
So what do you have to pay for? Oh, because you were associate producer, or what was the?
You have to pay for the Emmy.
Oh.
I just didn't do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but do they give Emmys to they give it to EPs and supervising producers?
Yeah. I gotta.
Got this thing, yeah.
Pamphlet.
That's why. Hey, listen, you're on your way.
I'm on my way, baby.
I'm trying too. I mean, would love to see the Emmys in a year or two where every show is done like this.
Me too. I love this. There's elements of I don't know. It's fresh, and I think in the age of social media where everyone is a content creator, it's going to be a natural transition towards that. And obviously it will get more expansive when we can all be together. We're gonna expand, what we can do. But I like this kind of ragtag DIY lo-fi situation.
I love it. I'm working with a lot of queens from RuPaul's Drag Race right now on some digital content, and you know, you're working with drag queens, and they're so gorgeous and they're so fabulous, and then you see them like behind the scenes, and you're like, oh, they kind of look like me. Like bearded now, like, so we're doing a lot of projects where they're like in quarantine and stuff like that, and just fun stuff that you can watch on Wow Presents Plus.
What does your family think of Returning the Favor? Is that their favorite programming you've ever done?
Oh, hands down. If my dad gets his connection back, I'm sure he can.
Yeah, get him back on here.
I'm thinking he might be back on. I don't know what happened. He lost us.
His tracksuit.
He lost us and thought the whole thing went down. But yeah, no, they. I worked on. Out of all the shows I worked on, there's two that I think they really, really love. One was when I was an associate producer. It was called The Fabulous Beekman Boys. And it was about two guys, Brent and Josh. They were a couple from New York City, and they moved to upstate New York and opened a farm with all these goats and started selling goat milk and like soap and stuff. And now they're like world like well known, but they were like the first openly gay couple like on like a reality series. So, yeah, so it was a fun show. My parents really loved it because it was just, they were just fun characters. We were on a farm. They were two city boys on a farm. It was just super fun. It was on Planet Green, which was Discovery's old channel that doesn't exist anymore. So there was that. And then, of course, there's Returning the Favor, which my dad has always been a huge fan of Mike. And I've always been a huge fan of Mike. And I mean, working with him allows me and my dad to have that connection.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like our base, Mike Rowe, I mean, he's universally loved, and he also has definitely a geographical pull. And being from Northeast and from Boston, there's people who either love him and are obsessed with him and know him, and people who have no idea who he is.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, growing up from Western Pennsylvania, like, you know, also he's from Baltimore, not too far. Like, we all knew who Mike Rowe was. And even when, you know, I'm sure like you, I've worked with a lot of different celebrities, and most of them luckily have been very kind and polite. But Mike is just, honesty is the best policy when it comes to Mike. And
that is right.
He's a no BS guy, and that's what I like about him. And I do enjoy working with him.
Me too. And he's great with banter, and he's able to, you know, you can play with him. He's like, he likes that improv. I mean, he has such a theater background.
Oh, yeah. And I also love being able to like learn from him, like obviously the hosting aspect of it. And also he's always thinking about, there's times he'll be like, well, you know, we should put this in the edit. We should do this, this, and that. And I'm like, oh God, you're not just like spitting out lines. You're actually thinking about how this flows as a show.
Oh, totally.
And you know, I think that comes with doing the VO and just being into what we're doing as well.
He's also been doing, I mean, he's almost 60. He's been doing it for years.
I didn't say it, Mike. I didn't say it.
He's almost 26 and
almost 26.
And yeah, he's definitely really good at what he does, which is great because we've all worked with people who are put in the position of host and are like, you know, barely can handle a scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or don't show up and don't do anything. Yeah. No, we've all been there. No name.
Before RTF, I was coming on, I had gotten very clear, like probably 3 years before that, that I was only going to be doing uplifting content. That was just the only way I was spending my energy. And again, like you said before, I'm so grateful for the Bravo stuff. And I'm so grateful for E and all those other shows that really do teach you. They're like a boot camp for all that stuff. But it just did something to my soul. I think it's like also depending on what role you have in the production, you have a different ability to compartmentalize and have some distance to the project in certain ways. Like you get to be, you know, anyone on a crew setting is able to sort of unplug and then they're off. But if you were a producer, you're handling talent and you're handling things, you know, at 4 a.m. and you're never formally off, ever.
No, I remember my friend Taman, who does audio in New York, he was on a shoot once years ago with Dog the Bounty Hunter, and they were in Hawaii. And he said, like, Dog the Bounty Hunter just didn't want to show up and work that day, so they had a beach day. And I was like, no, that's an audio producer's day.
Totally.
Producers are an audio supervisor's day. Like, my day is, like, trying to get Dog the Bounty Hunter out of the house.
Exactly.
I didn't work on that show. But that's a story that Taman said.
Before I made that decision to really that declaration. And it was a scary declaration. When you work freelance, you are saying no to gigs. So you're going through some dry periods where you're really trying to shift yourself into a certain pocket in the industry. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that I did that. I'm so grateful I had such a supportive husband. I mean, only recently a husband. I still feel like a child bride.
Child bride. You been married for a year or 2 years?
A year.
Oh, a year. Okay.
Not even a year. A year at May 26th.
Oh, okay. It's coming up.
Coming up, baby. Thank God I got married last year.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. I see like my cousin and his fiance were scheduled to get married a couple weeks ago. Had to push to August. I mean, who knows? I have another cousin getting married. You and I both know what it's like to go through to plan a wedding, and to prep a wedding, and also you did yours overseas. I did mine, even though I did it outside of LA. Everyone had to come from the other side of the country. It was
it was insane.
To have to cancel or postpone something would make me vomit.
Me too. Unfortunately, Jenna, the head of our post department, one of the EPs on the show, she's having to push her wedding.
Oh,
her wedding was supposed to be in June.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So everyone's pivoting. Oh, but for me, it's just like if I had to push my wedding after all the planning, I would have just said, we're going down to City Hall.
That's what Samara said. She said Samara, I think, wanted to go to City Hall at the beginning, but that's just Samara's style. I was more of the, let's have a party, short rib. Yes.
Oh my God. No,
can you believe we've been talking for 52 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess I have too. Time flies by.
It sure does. It's going to be interesting to figure out what comes next after this, right? Depending on what our world's going to look like and what jobs are available. And hopefully RTF will continue to go. That's definitely the plan. But
yeah, I mean, I think we're on the right track. We're on the right track. We're on the right track because we're luckily working for companies, you right now with Returning the Favor, and Hudson, and myself with World of Wonder, that are pushing the medium forward and trying new stuff like this. And we're at the forefront of that. So fingers crossed. I mean, people need to be entertained. I mean, we have people watching us right now. So, and the comments are coming in. Wendy wants to say, Sarah, you were a beautiful bride.
Oh, thank you, Wendy.
Annabelle, who was the maid of honor at my wedding, said the short ribs were so good. And Mickey gives a shout out to our friend Taman Strayhorn, who she likes to call Strayman Tayhorn. It's been so fun, Sarah. I don't want to keep you any longer. I'm sure you have a very busy day of giving back to the world and positive and sunshine and maybe moving upstate New York. I don't know.
I think it's worth noting that Jacob Huddleston never showed up.
Oh, we know. We're well aware. I made note.
Next time he comes knocking, no one's going to answer that door.
I've been trying to book him on a show for months, and he just won't answer the calls.
Intimidation.
Do you have anything else you want to plug or share or anything? I know you have some stuff coming out later this week, and I'd have you back on to show the stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really, really fun because I'm going to start pushing it out, and it's just going to be more positive energy into the world, just little hits.
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah, and I don't got that many friends, so we do gotta have to have you back, and then we can show some more stuff and have some fun.
I love it. You're my homie.
You're my homie, and I really appreciate it. I hope you stay safe, and if you head upstate, be safe.
Thank you.
And say hi to Mr. Yourgrau for me, and keep up the good work with RTF and everything you're doing, because I mean, you're one of the few people that's a beacon of hope. You're a great producer, and you have a skill set, and you're using it at the best of your ability. So we really appreciate it.
Takes one to know one.
Takes one to know one. I don't know I think Allison's been drinking. I don't know what she's saying.
Yeah, Miller.
Time.
Any final comments?
Final comments. Allison said, "Who's Jake?"
Allison, how's Michigan? Can you report any form of life from Michigan? Look alive, Miller.
Allison can't hear because she's watching on closed caption.
Also, it's worth noting that we all have fake names and aliases, so we call each other by each other's.
Oh yeah. Well, we probably shouldn't say all those names.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Just per season.
Before this totally gets, she just said cold. It's cold. Well, Miller, get a jacket. Stay warm. Is cold. All right, keep at it there, Miller. We just exposed Miller. Sarah, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for stopping by, and this is great. I'll see you backstage, and we'll talk the real dirt.
That's right.
On Sharon Schlobel.
Yeah, classic Sharon, our favorite rental car.
That's a story. We'll have to say that for the next time. The Lee story on how I got locked in the rental car because I didn't know her name was Sharon.
We should come with some more really real dirt on RTF in a good way.
We should, and maybe we can bring on some of the other producers and production managers like O'Grady and some of the ones from the past like Mickey, Lee. Be a lot of fun. So, all right, Sarah, you're the best.
You're the best. Love you.
Love you. Thanks so much for everything. This is Sims TV. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend.
Woo!
Bye.